Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for another episode of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where we take the genre news of the week and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about when we talk about it. This week, of course, news is slow this week. So, yeah, we're going to be making stuff up as we go along. Not making up stories, but just you and me talking. I've got like 7 items. That's about it, which is really slow. Let me take care of some business first, then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, what YouTube does takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, you hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. No tier 7 on the Patreon because I'm waiting until I hit 1,000 subscribers. And it seems like I'm going backwards instead of forwards. But yeah, once I hit 1,000 subscribers, that way when you guys give me money, I give you stuff in return. Also, I have all the links to my pages. So this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and for those of you who still have Facebook, a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. Hey, Pen. Let's get to it, shall we? Yeah, literally, I have 7 things on there. July 2nd, The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt, and of course, directed by Adam McKay, is going to hit Amazon Prime. That's right. Amazon Prime has bought that, and it's going to be released on Amazon Prime July 2nd. I don't know exactly what that movie is about. I know it's based on a popular book. But if it does as well as Coming to America, which actually did a good amount of money for Amazon Prime, I think they'll be okay. I want to say it was like a $200 million movie, something like that. So they'll make their money back. Yeah. I actually am liking the streaming, of first run movies on TV. It's a lot. Do I miss theaters? Maybe a little bit, but not all that much, to tell you the truth. And I, I just find that other people are actually really horrid sometimes, actually in theaters. So yeah, I'm digging the streaming stuff a lot more. Penn says, I heard that YouTube keeps taking away likes and subs recently, not just subs. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I had a few more likes on last night's video for the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it went down. I thought maybe it was because of what I said, but who knows? It could have been because of what I said, and I don't know. It could be that YouTube's doing some funky ass shit too. They've been having a lot of surveys lately asking, me what I think, and I kind of gave them a little bit of an earful of my survey that I did. Yeah. So just saying, if you've been on a long time and you don't have the required whatever amount of subs and they're still making money off of you, they should actually start profit sharing at that point. But that's neither here nor there. That's a different thing altogether. Considering they are making money off my ass. Yeah. Oh, it would never be what you said. Possibly, Pen. I'm sure it would be. Um, yeah, I mean, oh, an old coworker all of a sudden just, messaged me and it popped up. That was what that little ding was there. So, hello. uh, sorry, that kind of threw me off there for a second, and it's just going to keep popping up. Damn it, that stupid thing. There we go. So yeah, actually, I know there's only 3 of you out there, but tell me, what are you guys watching? What are you guys into at the moment? I know that some people are going back to work. I've been working all this time, so it doesn't make any difference what I'm doing. I mean, not just here, but also like my day job, the one I actually make money off of. And so yeah, so I'm not home all the time, like some people have been during the pandemic or working from home, really. So I work from home maybe 2 days out of the week, if that, sometimes. But I did see an actual good movie on Netflix last night, Concrete Cowboy with Idris Elba. Um, and it's based on a true story of urban cowboys, if you will. So in Philadelphia, there are stables throughout Philadelphia, and yeah, it's basically within urban communities, and people, you know, maintaining horses, riding horses, all that kind of stuff, and using it as a deterrent, also for some kids, keeping them out of, crime and gangs and stuff like that. It's actually a really good movie. The cinematography I didn't like all that much because it's handheld for the most part, but the movie was really damn good. So yeah. Philip Ademic says I only watch Oak Island and Falcon and Winter Soldier. The rest is YouTube and Twitch. Uh, you're still watching Oak Island, man? Did they find any treasure yet, or did they find another nail? And the nail is questionable. It could be 1700s or it could be 1984, right? Philip also says I'm going to be bumming when Oak Island season ends. On next time on Oak Island, the boys find a piece of wood. It was a good nail. So the only reason why I know about Oak Island because it played right before Project Blue Book, and so I'd have to suffer through some of Oak Island. So I started watching it because of that, and so I'd have it on as I was setting up for Project Blue Book, and I'm like, let me guess, they found a scrap of cloth. And it's mostly these guys just literally dumping money down a hole is what they're doing. And wow, I just can't believe that thing's been on. What is it, 8, 9 seasons now? And yet, stuff like, Almost Human only gets one season and gets dumped. Yeah. Penn says I work too many hours and barely have time to watch what we cover here. I did not watch. I did watch Made for Love. Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah, they've been dropping Made for Love in every 3 episodes is what they've been doing, which I thought was kind of weird for HBO Max. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Made for Love is on HBO Max. I'm going to be covering it on Tuesdays. Is it worth my time? There are 6 episodes out right now, and it does fall under the sci-fi realm, and it's also this weird dark comedy, I guess you could say, as well. Um, so yeah, it's odd. It's an odd mix of things, but I'll cover it on Is It Worth My Time? Because I just can't do it episode by episode since they're half-hour episodes. Originally, that's what I was going to do. I was going to do episode by episode, but they're dropping 3 episode arcs each time, and I'm realizing it's just really difficult to do half-hour episodes. Apple says, I'm here now. As soon as Morks gets here, we can recap. You got to say Morks' name 3 times. Otherwise, Morks does not appear. And, Morks will only appear when you say his name 3 times. Did I say that right? Did he show up? Uh-oh, he might have shown up. So, yeah, to recap, there really is nothing going on. I've only said one story so far, and then I've kind of spun off into other things. Apple Crow. So it's been a really slow news week. I think just because they dumped everything at WonderCon, and yeah. Vera Magisha says, do you also have to say his name in front of a mirror while saying it 3 times? No, but you do have to cover yourself in whipped cream. It's just one of the rules. I don't make them up. So, and I'm not doing that. Penn says, my friend's brother-in-law works on Oak Island. I occasionally joke with her that they solved it 10 years ago, but they won't tell us so the show can stand here. Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, Philip says to recap, Cap still hasn't shown up. No, he's not going to show up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Although I did hear for episode 5, there's supposed to be a well-known actor playing a role that we haven't seen in the MCU before, but it is a Marvel Comics character. That's all I've heard. So, and that came out last night, I want to say. Excuse me. So yeah. Hey Jody, how's it going? Uh yeah, I'm interested to see who it's gonna be. I'm not making any speculations or anything like that. I mean, I'm done with that after WandaVision. Making all these speculations during WandaVision just kind of bit me in the ass on all of that. And it was much more just kind of matter of factly. And that's what I'm keeping it with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah. Just keeping it on a very, very low keel there. Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars, so it could be Luke Skywalker. It could be. It could very well be. It could also be Jackson from the giant green bunny from the Marvel comics. That would be awesome. Which, by the way, I did buy the figure. It's supposed to be coming to me sometime soon. They finally released a fucking action figure, doll, whatever you want to call it, and I'm supposed to be getting it in the mail at some point in time. Don't laugh at Apple Crow's jokes. It only encourages him. Really, it does. Jody says, should we get excited or is this another WandaVision Paul Bettany situation? I don't know. Jody, I'm cautiously optimistic. That's all I can say is cautiously optimistic on that. Oh shit. Apple Crow's encouraged. Now we're in for it now. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine as who this is going to be on the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm not going to make any speculations on this. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Jody asks, what would you like to see in the last 2 episodes for you to consider Falcon and Winter Soldier great? Motivation as to what the fuck the Flag Smashers want. And what their end goal is going to be, what they want as their end goal. That's pretty much the 2 things right there that I want to see, because we haven't received that information at this point. Also, of course, I want to see Sam get the shield and become Captain America, which we already know that's what the end point is. So, and there's no spoilers on any of this, by the way. This isn't spoiler material. I'm not giving out any spoiler material in this broadcast, just to let you know. So you're free to watch, and I'm not going to spoil any episodes of anything. So there you go. Stanley says they want to kill half of humanity. No, they didn't say that. They didn't say that, Stanley. They just said they want things to go back to the way they were. Okay, how were they? Because we don't know. We haven't seen any of it. We haven't heard any of it. Yeah, so we don't know what they're talking about. You can't imply shit and infer things and expect the audience to actually grasp that. You have to show it, which preferably you want to show it, not just say it. But you can say it as well. And all you need is like maybe a paragraph of dialogue and you're good. Applecross says, I think one thing with the supremacist argument is that they want something that isn't possible. Well, yeah, that's pretty much what most of the Marvel villains want. Is they want something that's not possible, and they make it possible. Yeah. Stanley says, I want Falcon and Winter Soldier to be over with so we can get to Loki faster. It's still going to come out the same date, man, June 11th. That's soon enough. And before that, before Loki comes out in June, you're going to have the Bad Batch in between. So after the Falcon and Winter Soldier ends, we're going to get the Bad Batch, which starts on May the 4th. Hey. And then that's going to take the Friday night slot. And of course, I'm going to be covering the Bad Batch. If you haven't seen the new trailer is out. Or the second trailer, I should say. And it's got a very familiar voice in there. Fennec Shand is in there. So we get to see early versions of Fennec Shand. Of course, played by Ming-Na uh, she's doing her voiceover for that. So yeah. Jody says, "Yeah, you're right. It does feel a bit like their motivation is all over the place. I have a feeling that it was due to the rewrites they had to do in order to excise the purported bioweapon plot thread. Oh, I didn't know they had a bioweapon thread. Yeah, maybe we're in Loki already. It's about time travel, right? Could be. Yeah." Philip says, "Obviously they want to have sex, smash people with flags on their." Okay, yeah. Stanley says, "I'm not sure it will be a good batch of episodes." You talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, or are you talking about the Bad Batch? I can never tell if you're joking or not. I know there's a language, translation thing sometimes too. So, Stanley, so I don't take what you say at face value most of the time. I yeah. So, Penn says maybe we'll get the Doctor Strange cameo that didn't show up in WandaVision. No, it's an MCU character that hasn't been in the MCU yet, is what they're saying. So it's a Marvel Comics character that hasn't been in the MCU yet. And that's all they've said. And they said it's a grounded character, which leads me to believe it's someone without powers. Um, so again, your guess is as good as mine. And I'm like, someone without powers in the Cap universe, and I can't think of who it's going to be. Yeah. Applecrow says, I mean, that the Flag Smashers motivation won't make sense because they want something that isn't possible, not without wiping out half of everything. Uh, True. So everyone keeps getting one point wrong here. So when Thanos said that when he did the snap and he got rid of half of every living thing in the universe, that also means your biodiversity. So your trees, your animals, organisms, all that kind of stuff, all in half. Everything living in half. So he basically wiped out half the stuff there. So you know, I don't know as if he was trying to be an ecologist or not. That was not the way of doing it. You wipe out half of the larger organisms so that there's more resources for the other half that are there. But he wiped out half of every living thing, and yeah, that just didn't make any sense to me. But Jody says, so does that mean that someone that was under Fox or someone from the comics that hasn't even made an appearance? I think it's just someone from the comics who hasn't made an appearance in the MCU yet. That is what the showrunner said. But again, they said someone who's grounded. That was something that was emphasized in the article, was that it's someone who's grounded, whatever that means. Yeah. Stanley says the Clone Wars Bad Batch episodes weren't that great. That is my concern. Oh, okay. I like the Bad Batch episodes. I mean, granted, I made fun of Crosshairs, Hawkeye or Target. I call them by many different names just because it was kind of funny. And then of course the Punisher looking guy, Hunter, and yeah. I mean, Wrecker was funny just because he was just dumb and just wanted to smash things. But there. Philip says, did anyone else see the Thanos Gandhi meme? Thanos quoting God. No, I didn't see that. That sounds funny though. Jody says, if you stopped and thought about it, that could potentially be catastrophic. Total collapse of the ecosystem. Thanos' solution would cause far more problems. Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been saying is so what Thanos did by wiping out half of every living thing, he basically upset biosystems, and he didn't help things. He actually hurt things quite a bit. And unless he differentiated with the snap, which I guess you could, and only wiped out the larger organisms, then yes, you'd be okay. Yeah. Let me see what else I got here. Phoebe Waller-Bridge has been cast in Indiana Jones 5 in an unknown role, so she's gonna be co-starring with Harrison Ford. Also, John Williams is coming back for the score, so, I thought John Williams had died. I'm kinda bad about that. I thought we had already gotten that announcement, but that might have been in one of the alternate universes that, you know, had spun off, but yeah, I'm glad he's with us still, quite honestly. I'm not looking forward to Indiana Jones 5. I wasn't looking forward to Indiana Jones 4, so yeah, we'll see what happens here. Yeah. Famous Condi quote: "I want to see the ape punch the lizard." Yeah. Well, um, yeah. Does anyone really want to see Indiana Jones 5? Just asking. I mean, do you really want to see, an almost 90-year-old Ford taking on the role there, or what? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I'm in the same boat. I just really don't want to see it. I would go with a young Indiana Jones. There was rumors talking about, Chris Pratt maybe taking over the role, which is a wrong choice in that direction. I would rather go with an unknown, and just go with a younger actor and do, some more of the young Indiana Jones stuff. And uh, I would actually more prefer that and do a TV series rather than, yeah, what they're doing here. Yeah. There was an Indiana Jones 4. I thought that was a bad fever. Yeah, it was a bad fever dream. It was pretty shitty. Jody says, should we get excited about no, we should not get excited about the Indiana Jones movie. Apple Crow says, thematically, I like to see another Indiana Jones movie. Having seen Indiana Jones 4, except that there are only 3 Indiana Jones movies. I still love that episode of Chuck. If you remember the old TV series Chuck about having the intersect in his head, and his buddy ends up actually getting the intersect in his head, and then they have to take it out, but it removes a lot of memories, and a lot of memories are movies that he has watched, growing up with Chuck. So, like the Star Wars trilogies, the Indiana Jones trilogy, and Adam Baldwin's character, as their handler for the CIA, always hated the little guy, and you know, at first, you think he really hates him, and they're talking about the Indiana Jones movies, and he goes, "How many are there?" And you just know that he's gonna say 4 of them, and he goes, he actually he becomes nice to him and says, "There's only 3." Stanley says, "I never saw Indy 4, was hiding in a fridge at the time." Oh, funny man, funny man. Jody says, "You know what? I wish I could see a continuation of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles." Yeah, yeah, that was an awesome show, and that's something I would like to see as well. So that was something that George Lucas had come up with to both entertain people and educate people. So that was supposed to educate kids about history. So he made that Young Indiana Jones Chronicle as part of a history lesson for kids who really didn't like to learn. And I kind of dug that. He was doing what I've heard a lot of educators call themselves as edutainers, and where they are having to be entertaining enough where they can educate people by their entertainment. And that's what he was doing with those shows. And I kind of dug that. I liked the show too. It was a good show. It was a lot of fun, especially when they had old Indy in there. He was, basically telling all his stories. He's like 94 years old. He's got a patch over his eye, looks like shit, and yeah, kind of like Harrison Ford, um, except without the patch. um, how about Indiana Jones and the Falcon and Winter Soldier? I don't know. Apple Crow. Would they just be wheeling him around in a wheelchair, taking him from one adventure to the next, or would they put him in an exosuit, kind of like like a War Machine exosuit, and it would have laser whips? Would that be it? Jody says it was right up there with Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories. Yeah, series from the 80s. Yeah, Amazing Stories was good. It was a lot of fun. Iron Indie, exactly. Iron Indie. Throw me the suit, I'll give you the whip. We don't have much time. Alfred Molina. I still can't believe that was Alfred Molina. In the very first Indiana Jones, he's the one who, when Indy is escaping from the ball and all that stuff from the Incan temple, throw me the idol, I'll throw you the whip. That's actually him, Alfred Molina. Yeah, and yes, that was his first role. Exactly, great role. So speaking of old age, John Delancey is going to be returning as Q in the second season of Picard. And maybe they can answer that age old question: why does Q keep aging even though he is a timeless being? Who knows? Maybe they can do that. I doubt it, but there's always a possibility. Old Indy and old cat playing cards. Yeah, you could do that. You can have old Indiana Jones and old cat playing cards. Yeah. Um, and the first scene he filmed was with all the spiders. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Vera Magesha says, to make us feel better. You mean John Delancey or Iron Indy? It will be Kelvin Q, and I won't accept another answer. Yeah, that's true. It needs to be Kelvin Q at this. I mean, come on, man. I get it. Picard is the opportunity to bring back all the old cast members and wheel them out. I mean, bring them out um, for a last hurrah, I guess you will, or something like. I don't know. I honestly, I watched the first season. The first season was just really, really bad, and I have no desire to see the second season. So, yeah, especially with all the shenanigans that happened at the end of that first season. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So the thing that always gets me about Star Trek is, invariably they have the old characters going, okay, well, uh, they're looking, they're dying or something like that, and they need to extend their life or something. I'm like, you motherfuckers, in the original series, there are multiple planets where they've already found a way of transferring a human consciousness into a robotic body. Go back to those planets. You know where they are. They're located in the computer database of the Federation. Find it, go back. You got your robot body. Good to go. But maybe I'm just too logical about that. But logic has nothing to do with Star Trek anymore. Penn says, I love Q, but no, just no. Exactly. Jody says, because Q wants to make Picard not feel so bad about growing old. Possibly. Stanley says, I dislike Picard series more than STD now. Wow. That's actually saying something. Apple Crow says, for fuck's sake, have Delancey's son play Q. Yeah, really. Hey, Feisty, how's it going? Apple Crow says, happened in season 2, right? That old guy who transferred himself into Data's body. And I'm not talking about Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm talking about original Trek, where there was a bunch of robots that were talking about infiltrating the Federation and basically swapping out, into robot bodies. That's where they had Ahura and I forget who else. Kirk, I want to say McCoy as well, and they were talking about all transferring their consciousness over into robot bodies. So yeah, so it's all the way back to original Trek that they have this. Not Star Trek: The Next Generation was just a bunch of Hollywood scriptwriters. Yes, I said it. Okay. That is where the word technobabble originated from, was from Star Trek: The Next Generation, technobabble. So they basically just said a whole bunch of string of shitty words to confuse the audience, and yeah. Wasn't there also a full, cyborg in, STD season 1? Uh, I don't know. I actually didn't watch, STD, except for the first episode. That was all I saw, and that was enough. Or the first 2 episodes, that's what it was, the first 2 episodes. Because yeah, it was horrible. Return of Tomorrow, no, not Return to Tomorrow. Return to Tomorrow was the other one where they go back to the 1960s. I can't remember what it's called now. And there's also the Harry Mudd one, What Little Girls Are Made Of. There's that one as well. I believe that's what the title of it's called, What Little Girls Are Made Of. And the only reason why I remember that is just because it fits with Harry Mudd. It really does, just kind of, you know, yeah. And the other reason why I know Return to Tomorrow is because I actually used the part where the Enterprise is in the atmosphere uh, for a student film that I did way back in the day. Yeah, I co-opted some footage. Jodie Turner Smith has exited Witcher Blood Origins, which is a limited series, due to scheduling conflicts. So they've lost their lead and they need to start back all over again from square one, which really sucks for Netflix at this point. So it was supposed to be a limited series anyway, basically going back and showing how all the Witchers came to being, I guess you could say. And she was supposed to star in it, and scheduling conflicts. So now she's gone. Yeah. Yeah. Stanley. So I'll be talking about that tomorrow. I'll be talking about Machine Head tomorrow. Yes, I can't talk about it here now. Um, Apple Crow says one of the characters was a cyborg robot body, but like Dennis, I stopped watching after episode 1. Yeah, yeah. Jody says, "Yeah, it's been a while. The original series, so the original series is all on Netflix, by the way. You can always catch all the episodes on Netflix. Also, I think for free on Pluto TV or one of those free streaming services has all the, I think all the Next Generation episodes and all the original Star Trek episodes too. I know Pluto has the original Star Trek or Next Generation episodes." Jody says, "Was that supposed to be a live action? I thought it was an animated." Nope. Um, no. There's a couple of different Witcher things in the works. So the limited series, the Blood Origins one, is a limited live action series. There is an animated series that's out. Actually, let me click on my link since I have the link to it here. And I think it has all that stuff on there because they're talking about blah 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 blah. Yeah, it says set in an elven world 1200 years before the world of The Witcher. Blood Origin will tell a story lost to time, the creation of the first prototype Witcher, and the events that led to the pivotal conjunction of the spheres when the worlds of monsters, men, and elves merged to become one. And so, yes, it is a live action series or limited series. There you go. So, sorry, I read a comment in the comment section of that. It was on Deadline. And I started to laugh. They said the reason why she exited was because she finally read the script. Stanley says, "Was it Machine Head? Can't keep my supervillain." Yeah, it was Machine Head. The reason why I know it was Machine Head because I had to look up who was voicing him because it sounded really familiar, and it's Jeffrey Donovan who voiced him from Burn Notice. And yeah, that it just made me laugh. There's a shit ton of people on Invincible, by the way, that are voicing Invincible. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it on Amazon Prime. It's an animated series. It's really good. I am covering it on Sundays just because Fridays are too jam packed for me at this point. So Sunday now is going to be jam packed for me as well because I'm going to have both Invincible and now the Nevers. HBO's The Nevers. I'm going to be doing that too. So, um, Applecrust, am I remembering correctly what that Mark Hamill is in season 2 of Witcher, or was that just a casting rumor? I think it's a casting rumor, Applecrow. He's in season 2 of shit, what was it? The one about the Knights Templar. I believe it's called Knights, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So yeah, Mark Hamill was in that one. Or he plays one of the Knights Templar who trains all the knights, and he did a great job in that one. That's one of my favorite castings of his that he's in, and I think that's also on Netflix too. Speaking of a series that I would have liked to have seen more of, that was a good series. Um, Stanley says the voice cast's amazing. Britta as Adam Eve makes me even more of a creep. Speaking of the Nevers, do you think it'll be good? I don't know. We'll find out together, Jody. I'm going to be covering it on Sunday, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, I did, by the way, finally finish off the Cumberbatch, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, and I forget, I think it might have been you, Applecrow, who said that the first season is kind of and then yeah, then it kind of gets better from there, and yeah, it got better. Although hour and a half long episodes were just that was a killer. Basically it's a movie per episode, and I just kind of would watch one, stop, and then the whole one with him in the 1800s one was just kind of stupid. That was just ridiculous. I understand what they were trying to do, but eh, yeah. Nightfall, that's the name of it. Thank you, Philip. Yes, Nightfall. It was called Nightfall, the one that Mark Hamill was in. And yeah, it's pretty much at the end of the Knights Templar reign. And it was pretty good. What did I think of Moriarty? Kind of weak, quite honestly, especially what they did to him in season 4. I didn't like what they did. They basically kind of made him a second fiddle to everything. The final season was okay. There was just some stuff in it that, yeah, it could have been done, but it could have been done as a movie, and that was it. They just drew it out too long, I think. Applecrow says, I don't think that was me. I felt like the episodes went back and forth from good to bad and slowly jumped the shark. Okay. Hmm. Stanley says, I found Sherlock good at the beginning. Later seasons got worse, in my opinion. Huh. Yeah. I mean, it was an interesting show. It was fun for the most part. So I didn't need to watch it when it was on. Well, I caught up on it just as well on Netflix at my own leisure. So yeah. And there was some stuff like just really dumb stuff too that I was like, you guys are geniuses and you couldn't figure this out. Especially like the one thing, in the last season when they're talking about um the prison cell with the camera and you have the red light. And I'm like, okay, so just have a switch that you turn off the red light and you can still record. If that's what the person in the cell was waiting for was the red light to go off, you flip the little switch, turn off the red light, and yeah, yeah. Mycroft just got kind of stupid there near the end. It really they kind of made him really dumb by the end of it. Yeah. Vera Magisha says, agreed, it was a good show, but towards the end it seemed to taper and wasn't as good. Yeah. Jody says, "What about Dota, the Dragon's Blood?" I've seen it on Netflix. I haven't delved into it. Yeah. There's some stuff that I just kind of look at. I'm like, eh. It's kind of like Melissa McCarthy's Thunder Force. I see it on there, and I'm like, no, no, no. And then I see that her husband wrote and directed it. I'm like, fuck no, fuck no. But Dota, not as much. I mean, Dota, I'm just kind of looking at it, I'm like, no, no, not interested. Yeah. Stanley says, true, Sherlock was mostly fun, but let's not think about it too much. Applecrow says, it was always well made and acted. The story just got too weird. Yeah, I can see that. You watched one episode of Dota, the Dragon's Blood, or was that it? What you're talking about, Stanley? Mark is in the Invincible cartoon. I might bling that when it's done. Binge that, bling that. I get what you meant there, Philip. Oh, okay, so you're talking about the Dodo. Yeah, I haven't made that jump into it yet. I've also been watching like Nailed It, the cake disaster or the baking disaster show, which is hilarious. I mean, even experienced bakers, I want them to bring in some experienced bakers and give them the same time limit to create the creations side by side with the horrible bakers, just so you can see how fucking difficult it actually is to make a fucking cupcake creation with fondant and all that kind of stuff in half an hour, 45 minutes. That's bullshit, man. I mean, even an experienced baker is not going to be able to get that stuff done in that amount of time and make it look exactly like the one that they took a couple hours on. I did find it funny also. Nicole Byer, who is in Nailed It, who's the host of that show, is one of the voices in this week's episode of Invincible. So she plays two voices actually. She plays the mother and the daughter, which I thought was funny. Mark is in the Invincible cartoon. Which Mark are you talking about, by the way? Maybe I lost it on that, but I don't know which one you're talking about. Abacus, my first question with all those cake shows is, yeah, but how does it taste? Well, that's the whole thing, Applecrow. That's what I like about Nailed It is they taste it, and um, Nicole Byer's reactions sometimes are the best fucking reactions you'll ever see on a show, especially when someone puts too much extract in there or just something funky in there. And she takes a bite of it and goes, sometimes she goes, oh no. Or she just goes and just spits it out as soon as she puts it in her mouth. That makes me laugh. Oh, Hamill. There you go. You're talking about Mark Hamill. Got it. Um, but yeah, that's right. Mark Hamill is voicing a character in Invincible. He's the tailor. Yeah. Pen, my by now, my talks always revolve back around a genre. It always happens. So shit happens like that. Stanley says people who watch baking shows are on notice to get their nerd card revoked. Why? I like to cook sometimes too. The baking one, trust me, Nailed It was not something I was expecting to watch, but it's so fucking funny just because the stuff that they're trying to make and what they come up with at the end, it's just horrifically bad. And they go out of their way to find the worst bakers out there, and it's hilarious. It really is. And Nicole Byer just sells it, quite honestly, for me. You've never seen Buckaroo Banzai, Apple Crow? Oh, that's right. We had that conversation before already. So what'd you think about Buckaroo Banzai, Apple Crow? What'd you think of it? How about a baking show set in the Venture Brothers universe? That would be fucking awesome. It would. Reality shows are garbage. Yeah, they are. But sometimes they're fucking funny too. I mean, I need to disconnect every now and then, something I don't need to think about, and it's just on, and I can go and do something while it's not gonna have any consequence of the fucking story whatsoever. So that's what reality shows are, well, cooking shows, I should say, for me, is just having something on where I'm getting some kind of stimulation, I guess you could say, in a way, but I can do my other stuff and whatever I wanna do at the time. Applecrest says, I'm not sure if I'm mystified how it gained cult status or the cult status makes perfect sense for it. I didn't like it as a whole, but I did appreciate it. So you haven't watched it in context. That's why Apple Crow. I've at the time that that came out, there was nothing else like it. And because what was that? 86, I want to say is either 84 or 86. I can't remember when Buckaroo Banzai came out. Um, and there was nothing else like it at the time, and having something that weird coming out, um, was a game changer for a lot of people. And it didn't make a lot of money in the box office, but, it did gain a huge cult status, and I'm looking forward to I believe Dark Horse has the comic coming out or the book coming out fairly soon, and I wanna get that because that's gonna be something that's gonna warm my little black heart that I've got going on here. Um, Penn says sometimes you just need something mindless. Stanley says, for switching off my brain, I have things like Lucifer or Superman and Lois. I like Superman and Lois, though. I actually pay attention to it because I like, some of the stories. Applecrow says, that's actually a perfect response. It did feel like there was no context at all for the film, like I was watching the second movie. And that's the whole thing. It's supposed to be like you're watching a second movie in the series, like you're being dropped into a story, and that's what a lot of us liked about it was you really didn't need a context about it. You had a character who was already in progress of of their life, and everything else was already set up around them, and that's why we wanted more of it. We wanted Buckaroo Banzai fighting the International Crime League, which I believe is what the book is that's coming out, if I remember correctly. I talked about this a while back on one of the Saturday morning blast offs, and now I got to look it up, of course. Oops. Oh, Buckaroo. Bonsai book. That's what I'm looking for, right? Yeah. Again, I love doing this on the air because, yeah. Da, 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 da. And I am seeing, I don't know when it's coming out. Dark Horse. There we go. Dark Horse announces Buckaroo Banzai sequel. It is Dark Horse. Yes. Yeah, Buckaroo Banzai against the World Crime League. Yeah, so it's going to be a compendium of all these things. And that is supposed to be coming out again August 10th, 2021. There we go. August 10th, 2021. That's something I'm going to buy. Again, Dark Horse does not put out shit as far as I'm concerned. They haven't existed this long as a smaller publisher by putting out shit. And they've been around for 30 years. Yeah, 30 some odd years, I believe, at this point. So you don't last that long by putting out crap books. And everything I've read from Dark Horse, I've loved. um Stanley Twiddle says you had to be there. AC, it's like Lex. I couldn't watch that show again today. Yeah, there's some shows that actually had their time and place in time, I guess you could say, and you try and redo it now, and it just doesn't work because it's a different frame of mind, a different set of circumstances, different world that you're living in. Yeah. Alpacross says I need to finish Lex. I watched the first 2 episodes a couple months back and enjoyed them. Well, at least you did. I remember when that came out on Showtime, I believe it was, and I was just like, "What the fuck is this?" And I never watched it again. Yeah. And I think that was the point of it, Stanley, was it got tedious for me too, and I was just like, I think I watched, like, the first half of the season, and then I gave up on it. It was when I had Showtime way back in the day. So, hey, good news. The war between the companies, that owned, Macross and Robotech have finally solved their differences. And, so Golden Harmony and what was the other company that was, called here? Big West and Studio New, uh, they basically have announced their negotiations with Harmony Gold, which is the American production company that licensed Macross back in the 80s, has finally ended. So this means we might actually get a Macross Robotech movie at this point in time, which I'm hoping is going to be the case. Um, yeah, because I want to see some giant robots fighting some giant Zentradi beings from outer space. I think that'll be kind of cool. Or a TV series on that. Amazon, Netflix, you guys are out there. So, yeah. Albatross, I think Harmony Gold coming to terms with anyone is a sign of the end times. It is. I mean, hell has frozen over. Albatross, that's true. But yeah, because Harmony Gold just existed to make life miserable for any properties that they had any kind of hook into, because they weren't going to do anything with it. They had no money. They were just trying to make money any way they could and survive. Yeah. A live action Robotech Macross movie? Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Hopefully, because we've been talking about this for years now, and I would love to see it actually get done. At one point, I think they were talking about a young Tom Cruise playing Rick at one point. Yeah. Yes, I know Harmony is a misnomer for that company. Applecross, I put forth the standard caveat for today's genre. I love to see this, but I fear they'll give it to the wrong people. You mean like Snyder? You can make it the Snyder Murderverse, where everything is dark, you can't see shit, and they kill off your favorite characters in the first like minute of introducing them. Min May gets spaced like immediately. She goes to sing and she gets spaced out the airlock. I was going to say giving Robotech a big robot. You know it's going to go to Snyder. Applegriss says, Rick, you couldn't recognize my mecha because of the red arm. Yeah, live action Gundam would be cool too. But for me, it was always Robotech, Robocross. See what I did there? I kind of merged them. I merged them in my mind. It happens. So anyone remember who Robin Lively is? She was the next Karate Kid. She was the one after Ralph Macchio in the Karate Kid movies. Well, she's going to be playing Sarah Bellum, the live action Sarah Bellum. And Tom Kenny, who was the narrator on the Powerpuff Girls, is going to reprise his role as the voiceover narrator for CW's Powerpuff. God help me. I'm probably going to end up watching it just for the fear factor alone. As it is, the new Kung Fu is out on CW on their website, on their streaming site, and I'm gonna have to watch it just to see how fucking bad it truly is. But yeah, I already saw they put up a picture of the women playing the Powerpuff Girls. Well, they're in their 20s now, in their costumes, and It looks like a really bad, it looks like one of those bad the cheap costumes, the cheap Halloween costumes that you see the pictures of, when you go to the Halloween store to go and buy, like, your cheap ass costume. That's pretty much what it looks like. Yeah. Philip Ademic says, Mecha Warrior Online wound up having to reskin their mechs to get around Harmony Gold, make them all 25% different, and then allowed other companies to use their models. Wow, that sucks. Are those hacks who ruined Game of Thrones? D&D? Yeah, possibly, Jody. Although it still wouldn't be as bad as Abrams or Steiner. Apple Crow says, wasn't she in Empire Records? I'm thinking of the same person. She's a redhead. She's been in lots of different things. Um, was she in Empire Records? She was not in Empire Records, though. Thinking back to it, I don't think she was in Empire Records. Stanley says, apropos XYZ cut, I heard demands for the 30 minutes monkey fight cut of, oh my God, of Godzilla versus Kong. Only the CG fights without the stupid humans. Yeah, that would be actually a good thing. But then again, you don't have the MacGuffin of the human shutting down the satellite that, yeah, the plot twist on that. Vera Magisha says, did they buy the costumes post Halloween last year and decided? I think so. I think actually what they did is they actually just cut out some paper mache and put them on the ladies. That's pretty much what it looked like to me. They looked ill-fitting and really abrasive fabric, whatever they're using there. Philip says, now that people don't need to use the HG models, they are willing to negotiate. The craft. Yes, I think she was in the craft, actually, Jody. Let me see. I can tell you what her IMDb is because I've already done this anyway. There she is. Yeah, the Karate Kid Part 3, I think is Part 3 that she was in. She was in Teen Witch is what she was in. So you were close, but it was Teen Witch that she was in. Yeah, in the 90s she was doing a lot of stuff. She's actually been doing not too bad for herself acting wise. But those are the two things she's really kind of known for. She was in Doogie Howser. She was actually in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicle as well. She was Nancy Straightmeyer in one episode. She was in Twin Peaks. She was Lana Budding Milford in quite a few episodes. Yeah, like I said, Teen Witch, Not Quite Human 2, 21 Jump Street. She was on a lot of stuff. She was in Amazing Stories at one point. She was in Wildcats. She was actually Alice in Wildcats, the movie with Goldie Hawn. Yeah. So there you go. She was on a lot of stuff. Oh wait, the love interest. Yes, in Karate Kid 3. Yeah, not the Hilary Swank, not the next year. I actually confused her with Hilary Swank's character, but she was the love interest in Karate Kid 3. Yes. Apple Crust, I'd be fine with a 30-minute monkey fight cuts, so long as the subtitle up through the whole film that says, this exists because you're too stupid to appreciate story. I don't think they'd be able to read that, Apple Crow, because they just are illiterate. Oh, you're thinking of Robin Tooney. Yeah. Now, Robin Tooney, great actress, but she's been in other stuff. Yeah. Jody says, I forgot about Teen Witch. Most everyone else has too. And finally, the last thing I've got here is Jennifer Jason Leigh is going to star in season 2 of Hunters for Amazon Prime. If you haven't seen Hunters, I recommend it. It's actually a lot of fun. I did a whole is it worth my time on that one? And it's basically about Nazi hunters in the 70s. Yeah, in New York in the 70s. Al Pacino's in it. Uh, it's decent. It's actually a decent story. Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother is in it too. You know, uh, his character is actually kind of funny and has one of the best introductions too. Really does in that series. But yeah, I love Jennifer Jason Leigh. She honestly should be a much bigger star than she actually is. She's a great actress. One of my favorite movies of her that she's in is The Hudsucker Proxy. I know everyone else talks about all these different movies that she's in, but for me, Hudsucker Proxy is my favorite that she's in. The dialogue, she just spits out the dialogue quick. She does 1940s dialogue, damsel, awesomely. She really does. Blinky 500 has a Powerpuff fan film that was pretty fun. Penn, which show would you have never found without me? Oh, Hunters. Hunters. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I find all kinds of weird stuff. I'm always looking for stuff for the channel here and also just stuff that floats my boat for the most part. So, Stanley says, I think Hunters was good, but the fantastic nature of the story turned me off a little. My country, yeah, I know, Stanley, that your country really doesn't like dealing with that topic, or yeah. So I understand. Wow. Yeah. Oh, Stanley, you got to watch Hunters to the end. There's a big twist at the end, dude. Fucking just watch the last episode then if you need to. Just do it that way. You need to watch the last episode, if anything, and just tie it all up because otherwise you're going to miss the big twist to it. Yeah. There is a reason for it happening. Yes. You know what I also started rewatching was Jean-Claude Van Johnson. I saw it Amazon recently. So my Amazon TV Cube just updated all the UI and they changed the entire look of things. And sitting there in one of my Amazon, in the bar there was Jean-Claude Van Johnson. I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen this in a long time. So I popped in the first episode and I was like, holy fuck, this is actually still really good. It is so much fun. It really is. It's one of those shows that just really died way before its time. It's only got 6 episodes. It really needed a full season. Yeah, yeah. I still want an entire, like, 5 seasons of, JCVJ myself, Pen. Apiker says, "We were gonna get season 2 about the Time War, but it was destroyed in the Time War." Mhm. Yes, Jennifer Jason Leigh was also in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yes, Jody, she was. That was, like, one of her first roles starting off. Yeah. She's a great actress. I mean, just fantastic actress, and like I said, how she's not a bigger actress today, I don't understand. I really don't understand it. I mean, she was the best thing in Tarantino's, The Hateful Eight. I don't like Tarantino movies, quite honestly, and her I actually liked in The Hateful Eight. That was and even though her character was just repellent. Yes, she was also single white female, that's right. Mhm. Yeah. She's been in lots of stuff. Stanley Tweedle says Amazon Prime doesn't have a lot of original shows, but a lot of those are good. Um, some of them are, yeah. They're not Netflix where you get catfished in by the first episode of or first couple episodes of the series, and you're thinking it's good, and then the last back half of the nine, I guess you could say, are just shit and invalidate the first half. Yeah, except the ones with steampunk elves. Amazon Prime. I don't know what show you could be talking about there, Stanley. Yeah, that series just left me cold. It really did. That was just a bad series. That is getting another season just also. Ugh. Well, it doesn't surprise me. Orlando Bloom is in it. So, yeah. Well, hey, look at that. We made it to an hour too. Surprised. Still not the worst thing. Yeah, there's always, the Justice League, the Snyder cut. Yes, I did say it. It wasn't the best thing in the world. No other silver Sable fans out there. That's what Philip says. I am, but not of what they want to do at Sony. Amazon Prime tends to go more for quality over quantity, right? Sometimes, Jody. If you watch the Jack Ryan series, no, it doesn't. The Jack Ryan series, it's so hilarious. When you watch that first season of the Jack Ryan series, you could tell they start writing the villain. They almost go into sympathy for him. They're like, oh wait, no, we're making the villain too sympathetic. We got to do something horrid in order to make him look bad. And so they have him like I forget if he straps a bomb to a child or something like that. But yeah, they do something really monstrous to make him look, evil at that point instead of being sympathetic. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. Carnival Royale, that is the one, Jody. Yes, steampunk elves. You hit the nail on the head. Yes, Prime does have The Expanse. I agree with you on there, but they're ending it after next season. So, well, they're ending this story, I think, this book, and then they're going to go jump ahead. I believe is what's going to happen. No, they do have good stories. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disparaging Amazon at all, but there are some other stuff too that they have that's just you're like, nah, I'm good, man. Like I'm wondering how Without Remorse is going to play. I like Michael B. Jordan, and Without Remorse is the only Tom Clancy book I've ever read from cover to cover. It's essentially the Punisher story, is what it is. That's what Without Remorse is. Um, I can almost guarantee you there's going to be some uproar about it just because of Michael B. Jordan playing the role instead of a white man playing the role, which is what the character is in the book. Um, it's yeah, I'm waiting till it comes out, and that's when you're going to hear the backlash on it. Um, but Without Remorse it's the Punisher story, is really what it is, and we'll see how it plays out. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. Yeah, I read that back in college, way back I think when it first came out, and that was a thick book too. Without Remorse, that was a big ass book. You could knock somebody out with that. You could actually kill somebody with that book. That's how big it was. Yeah, the tick does hurt, Pen. I agree with you. Jody says, "Oh, I'd forgotten about the Jack Ryan series. I wish I could. I know there's a second season that came out, and I think there's a third season on its way. They also have the Jack Reacher series, or the Jack Reach Around, as I call it, series. Yeah. Um, oh, that's a bad joke. Stanley says, I heard this one about the latest Falcon and Winter Soldier episode. That was quite the disarming move. But bum. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Give that man a hand. Mhm. Yeah. But at least he was a leg up on the competition. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's about where we're end it right there. Yeah. Yeah. Um just all the bad jokes all at once. Yeah, we were talking about lawyers at one of my work meetings, and I didn't give my gem of a joke, which I always love. It's the Danny DeVito joke from War of the Roses. Is what do you call 100 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? An excellent start. Yeah. Jody says, is it a bit of a spy thriller type or more military thriller? Without remorse. Um, it's literally the Punisher. It's about a military guy who his family gets wiped out, kind of thing, and he goes on revenge. That's really what it is. It's the yeah. That's really what the whole thing about Without Remorse is all about. And that's the start of that character because that character is in pretty much every single Tom Clancy novel. He is the sniper or the wet work guy. And he's actually in the Jack Ryan novels. William Dafoe played him in the first movie with Harrison Ford. So, like I said, the character is in every single Tom Clancy novel. It's out. He's out there. But that's supposed to be the start of, yeah, of that character is Without Remorse. Excuse me. So yeah. Excuse me. God. Uh Stanley says, I hope Netflix introduces that magnet into the UI. Hmm? Oh, okay. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but okay. Yeah. Well, on the lawyer joke, I should probably let you guys go. What else do I have coming up here? Well, first of all, let me thank everybody who joined me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, what YouTube does takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos, my vast video library, and pops up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, if you can't hit that like and the share button as well. And if you want to know when we'll be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, all the links to my social media are there, and all the links to my pages are there as well. What else do I have coming up this week? Well, tomorrow is going to be a twofer. We've got Invincible in the afternoon, and then in the evening is going to be The Nevers. HBO Max's The Nevers is going to be happening there. Monday, I'll be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's Made for Love, which is HBO Max again. Wednesday and Thursday, I'll be off. And Friday wraps around to The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the penultimate episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. And Saturday is going to be another episode of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week. And any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about, we talk about it. Hopefully, it's not going to be another slow news week and we have some news. But it's always good talking with you guys and seeing what you're all up to. And, you know, we already had all the bad jokes. That's why you're saying Morks doesn't need to appear. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow for Invincible and the Nevers. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may just have to wing it as you're going through and having no news and slow news, and it may look like it's put together well, but it's really not. It's another fly by the seat of your pants episode. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, and don't forget to wear those masks. Get those vaccine shots if you can. and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. And if I don't see you tomorrow, have a good weekend too. Thanks, everybody.